Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Krag the Destroyer. This is a character that we kind of have seen previews of for quite a while on the web portal. It has been in the banner for over a year, I think. We've seen it on the left hand side kind of like in red, but now we see Krag in all his glory in game. He is going to be an ultra will character, so you can pick him up with ultra tokens, and visually he looks really cool. On the right hand side he's got a lot of little things going on that you could probably draw attention to. He's got the backpack, as you can see, the dinosaur, where that avatar from the battle pass is kind of like themed on, you know, him in his dream world is going to be, you know, kind of having fun there. And then on his waist you can see he's got like a ball from like what that movie, I've already forgotten what it's called. Someone told me, but I forgot what it's called. And yeah, he looks really cool. He looks really cool. We don't get too many younger characters, and I guess depending on when this would be in the actual zombie apocalypse, well, he could have been born in the apocalypse. So yeah, it's very different, very different. If we look at his stats at level 1440, limit break 3, he has got 36,043 attack, 21,472 defense, and 19,171 HP. He is a strong character. He is a damage roll character as well. Of course, a gold mythic, and he is going to be joining the Rebels Allegiance. So first, we'll check out the Adrenaline Rush, and it is called Heroic Smash. It's a 66 AP cost rush. Remove 100% of the current bonus HP and deal 1,300% damage to an enemy. Confuse a line of enemies for 2 turns. Heal this character for 75% of their max HP. So the way this works, obviously, is going to be the order it says it in. First, it's going to remove the bonus HP. So it'll, let's say someone's got 100,000 bonus HP, it will go to 0. And then it will do the 1,300% damage to their max HP. And then if it takes them out, obviously, and they go into Outlast, the Outlast situation will happen. Then they will get confused. So for instance, someone like Eris should do her cleanse before the confuse comes in, because she's already been taken out at that point. And then lastly, heal this character for 75% of their max HP. So obviously there's quite a lot going on here, honestly. 4 different things. It is single target, but it is a big heal as well to self. Line control, even if you don't take out the character, you know, like Eris with the Adrenaline Rush, you can do it with the character in front or behind Eris, and it will confuse her in the Outlast state as well. So you've definitely got options based on how you try to actually take the character out. Now, unfortunately, I do not have Eris on the test region just yet, but I will get her, and I'll put in my top comment if it works on Eris when it comes to actually using the Adrenaline Rush on her and actually taking her out. I might actually upload a shorts video just showing confirmation of this, so stay tuned for that. But we'll check out how this Adrenaline Rush works otherwise, but I think it's pretty straightforward. Remove bonus HP, 1,300% damage comes in, takes out the character or not, it will confuse that character and the character in front of them or behind them, and then heal self for 75% HP. Okay, so we're going to attack this team. You can see there's a lot of bonus HP here. We're going to attack Vance, who is an Outlast character. I have got Laura, so we can just get that first turn natural rush. Nice and easy. I'll do the attack. You'll see the bonus HP came off first. Now it goes into the max HP. And you can see he's confused for 2 turns. He's not going to do anything in Outlast. You can also see the character in front of him is also confused. So this is obviously very good for controlling the line. If the character in front was Eris already in an Outlast state, that would actually be fantastic, of course. Like I say, make sure you just check my comment to see how this works on Eris if she is the target of the rush. But I'm fairly certain she will also be confused, and because the confuse will come in after her cleanse has come in. You can also see other things that have already happened. We'll check out why these things have occurred later on in the video, but it looks like he's going to be able to rush quite quickly again in the fight. Now, going over the upgrades, you can see at grade 2 it gets plus 25% to the heal, so it goes from 50% up to 75%. This should counter things like infection. Even if he doesn't actually get healed, it will counter 75% of any amount of infection that he's got, which is obviously pretty nice. He's going to be rushing quite quickly and consistently by the looks of things, so this he could pop quite a high percentage of heal countering infection quite quickly. The next one is going to be plus 500% damage. So it looks like it goes from 800% damage up to 1300% damage. That is obviously a massive shift. Limit Break 1 upgrade. Remove 100% of the current bonus HP from an enemy. This is obviously really important, especially right now because bonus HP is pretty much everywhere. This does mean that basically any character he's going to be attacking is going to be much more susceptible to be taken out. It's just as simple as that. And then lastly, we have got the Limit Break 3 upgrade, where it's going to confuse a line of enemies for 2 turns. So it doesn't get that control until quite late on. And I would say that's probably the most important part when it comes to this, if you do want to counter someone like Eris. Otherwise, it's just going to be a nuke for other characters, which it definitely could be. You can see this using on Tyrese, Jesus, you know, like Martinez teams, those sort of, you know, teams that are, you know, around. So, but Eris, if it does counter her, you need this confuse to happen so she gets controlled and cannot rush. I think this Adrenaline Rush obviously is great. It looks like it teams up with some of his passives, obviously amazing too, because we saw he got his Adrenaline Rush a second time after using it the first time. It may be based on him getting a takedown. Like I say, we'll check that out later on in the video. But for me, this rush does exactly what it should do for a damage dealer. Heavy nuke. We do have quite a lot of good damage dealers within Strong, but this is the heaviest hitting one so far, the highest attack stat, and the highest individual hit. Now remember, this can't crit, it's just dealing the damage. It also can't proc weapons, so there's no risk of that sort of thing, just so you're aware. You can't be stunned or absolute defended or anything like this. Now next up is the signature move. It is called Infinite Might. It is a turn 1 initial cooldown of 3 turns, number of uses unlimited. This character gets 75% attack, which increases by 25% each turn for the rest of combat. Make a critical attack against an enemy for 400% damage, but 750% damage if the character that he is attacking is of the support role. So again, there's quite a lot going on here. The first part is kind of crazy. It's kind of like aggro, where he gets aggro, almost a second specialist skill here, but he gets initial heavy proc. This is obviously going to boost the amount of damage that he's going to do with that Adrenaline Rush, even with this signature move as well, because it comes in first. And in every turn, his Adrenaline Rush is just going to get more and more powerful as you potentially get to use it again and again and again and again. This potentially could be really good in certain game modes as well. For instance, if Rebels ever go into Faction Assault, you're going to have the attack stat just going up and up and up and up and up, and eventually he's just going to be absolutely crazy and just be going around one-shotting people, which is going to be hilarious. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to use the signature move on Vance, and it should do a significant amount of damage. As you can see, it would do a lot more if Vance was a support character, of course. And now in this situation, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to command him. And you can see, because he's got the 75% attack boost, I'm kind of feeling like he could potentially get the takedown here, because he removes the bonus HP first. Then he'll do huge amounts of damage. Remember, there's no crit potential, so it's just going to be flat damage. What we'll do is we'll just defend for a couple of turns. We'll have Vance come back and do his business. You know how it goes. But you're going to see his attack stats slowly creep up, I think. Let's have a little look. 125%. Let's see. We'll keep the ball rolling. Let's just do some basics. And then does it go up to 150%? Simple as that. Yeah, simple as that. Up to 150%. And yeah, that's obviously nice. It's just going to go up and up and up and up. I actually want to see what happens if I do a second signature move. I'm guessing that basically it's not going to do anything when it comes to the attack stat. It will just do the damage. Let's have a little look. I don't think the attack stat is going to change. Yeah, it went up to 175% at the beginning of this turn. So once it's on him, the initial proc, you can only reapply it if it gets stolen away or cleansed away. It's just as simple as that. So basically, the longer the fight goes on, the stronger that Krag is going to get. And it looks like this character could be one of the best characters at punching up, where you're the weaker person, you know, you've got the weaker roster, you're the weaker team, but slowly but surely Krag's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and he will eventually be able to just one-shot their more powerful characters. It may take a few turns to get there, but obviously it's going to get there eventually. But even if you are someone who is already strong, the initial 75% attack boost is pretty hefty in itself, as you can see. And we'll look at the upgrades as we see. It has got this character gets plus 75% attack, which increases by 25% attack each turn for the rest of combat. That is going to be a grade 3 upgrade. At grade 5, it gets an upgrade where it gets plus 350% damage if the enemy is of the support role. So initially, it's just going to be a 400% damage critical hit, and it is a guaranteed critical, just for your information. And at limit break 2, it gets a -1 to starting cooldown. So it goes from a 2-turn starting cooldown down to a 1-turn starting cooldown. I'd say this is quite important, especially given what we've seen of the rest of his kit when it comes to specialist skill, and it's seemingly the way his rush is working when he's taking someone out. He might not do this signature move too often after turn 1, so you definitely want to do this to get that initial buff, just so it slowly but surely will make him more powerful as the fight goes on. I really like this, honestly. It seems to be pretty good for war. Initial boost of 75% is always going to be pretty nice. But it's going to be great, like I say, potentially one day, if this allegiance ever becomes one that's chosen for faction assault bosses, he's going to be immense. Just hit that auto button, select the boss, and Krag will just slowly but surely just get stronger, and he'll have like 400, 500, 600% damage within no time, and that rush is going to be hitting for like tens of thousands of percentage damage at that point. It's going to be absolutely crazy. The numbers that are going to come out of just this, it's going to be like those like millions or bleed shots that you see when you get Lacerator procced up. It's going to be actually hilarious. Now, before we move on to the passives, of course, there is going to be a giveaway. This character is an ultra mythic character, so we're going to be giving away 10,000 ultra mythic tokens. For your chance to win the ultra mythic tokens, all you have to do is type in the chat down below T-Rex, because we have got a dinosaur on the back. We're going to have T-Rex. One word, as you can see, like Trex, basically, rather than the dash between it. No dashes, just Trex. Make it nice and simple. When you enter, make it part of a sentence so you don't get spammed out by YouTube. I wouldn't want your entry just being spammed just because you typed Trex, which actually happens quite a lot. Best of luck if you enter. Now back to the video. So now we'll look at Krag's mythic abilities. These are going to be his passive skills. He has got agility because he's a damage roll character. Now this will not help his rush, but it will help his signature move, and it will help his basic attacks. Now he might not basic attack too often or even use his signature move too often after the first one, but it's probably worth doing just based on trying to get as much out of that first turn signature move as possible. So it might be worth upgrading at least to 9 on each. Maybe not using any of the special trainers, but obviously that part's up to you. If you want to get the best of the best out of Krag on that signature move, definitely max this out. Next out is Rebellious Strength. All teammates get 10% attack. All Rebel Allegiance teammates get an additional 13.64% attack. Now remember, I do get early looks at characters, so this percentage could potentially be wrong. It looks kind of odd. I'm guessing it could potentially need to be 15%. We'll check in the upgrades after we go over these. But like I say, these can change, kind of how like Argus, one of Argus's passives did change slightly. That's just kind of the way it goes. Now this will affect him, where he'll get the 10% attack buff, but he'll also get the all Rebel Allegiance teammates get an additional buff, but he'll also get 10% of the Rebel Allegiance teammates buff on top, so they'll stack together and multiply. So that's going to be cool for Krag himself, but it's also going to be cool for any other Rebel Allegiance teammates out there, because they're going to get quite a big boost. Next up is Villain Spotted. At the start of each turn, while battling on the attack team, 50% chance a random enemy gets minus 50% defense for 1 turn. This is mad. This is a massive defense down. We have characters out there that can hit 120,000 defense. Suddenly 60,000 defense just isn't as big a deal. That's obviously going to be great for Krag or someone on his team, for instance Sophia, to get her follow-up. She's very obviously needs to get that takedown to have a good chance of a follow-up, so maybe the team up of these two characters could be actually great. Next up is Destroyed. When killing a target, this character gets 100% AP and stuns that target for 1 turn. Can affect fighters in the Outlast state. So that should mean almost confirmation that if he does take out a character, for instance Eris, he should stun her after her cleanse actually occurs. Like I said, I'll probably make a shorts video. I'll get Eris on my test region just so you can get the update of this, but I'm 90% sure by the wording here that that's how it's going to work. Very nice passives. So let's just check out how these work and just see what happens. Now, before I show his passives in action, I just want to show you the list of characters that are rebels. I believe this is the entire list. It will affect all of these characters, so you could potentially use a rebel team, you know, or at least maybe 1 or 2 of these characters and get an attack boost on those characters. So that's where the team up potential is with Krag. Okay, so we are on the first turn of the fight, and as we can see, we have proc that 50% chance to give a character minus 50% defense. It's landed on Vance, and what would you know, he's actually going to be my target on this attack. I do my signature move, which doesn't have any control on it, but because I took him down, I am going to stun him in the outlast state. Obviously, this has a chance of being resisted, so you have to take resist into account. But a character like Vance now cannot rush in Outlast. I could potentially command Krag to do more attacks or so on and so forth if I wanted. But that's just something to worth noting in terms of how it's going to work against Outlast characters. And like I say, this is how it should work with Eris as well. Now, look at the upgrades on this character. You can see at grade 1, he gets the first half of Rebellious Strength. All teammates get 10% attack. All Rebel Allegiance teammates get an additional 4.55% attack. Again, I think this is meant to be 5% here. At grade 2, it's going to be the first half of Agility, 10% increase to basic attack damage. At grade 3, we get the second half of Rebellious Strength, where it's going to be all teammates get 10% attack, and all Rebel Allegiance teammates get an additional 9.09% attack. So again, I think this is meant to be 10% on the second one. Like I say, I'll report this to Scope, please, see what they say. Maybe this will get changed once it goes live. You'll see it in game if it is going to get changed. At grade 4, you can see Villain Spotted Part 1 is going to come in. This is a 20% chance to do a minus 50% defense. At grade 5, you get this first half of Destroyed coming in, where you get 50% AP and stuns the target for 1 turn when you actually take down a character. So it isn't actually a chance to get the AP. You just get less. This is actually pretty cool, because then even a character at like Limit Break 1 or Limit Break 2 will still get some AP gain on takedowns. And lastly, we have the Limit Breaks. Of course, we're going to get Agility 2 come in, where it's going to go up to 20% increased basic attack damage. At Limit Break 2, it's going to be the second half of Villain Spotted, making it 50% chance a random enemy gets 50% defense down for 1 turn. This is going to be at the start of every turn, not just the fight, every single turn. And then at Limit Break 3, you get the second half of Destroyed, where it's going to be 50% AP and stuns that target for 1 turn, but they'll stack, obviously, so it'll be 100% AP if he takes down a target. This will be with his signature move or the Adrenaline Rush, and it would, of course, stun the target for 1 turn. You'll get at least a proc. It can get resisted, just be aware. So the passives work really nicely with Krag's kit. I do like the fact that Destroyed isn't giving a chance to proc on grade 5. That is actually massive in terms of how good this character is in terms of accessibility. That means this character is just going to be good as long as you get him to grade 5 and beyond. Because if you get him to grade 5, he of course won't be as powerful because his stats will be lower, but he'll genuinely get stronger and stronger as the fight goes on because of that signature move, which gives him extra attack every turn. So he just won't start off as strong. But of course, if you go up the limit breaks, you will get more upgrades to passives. So you basically want to kind of gauge where you want to go. It looks like LB2 looks like a really good spot to land on as a minimum, just because you get that 50% chance, minus 50% defense for 1 turn. That's going to be big in every single game mode. And next up, we're going to look at Krag's specialist skill, and it is going to be amped. At the start of this character's turn, if they are 100% HP, they get 50% of their max AP. This is going to proc off of turn 1, so as soon as you start the fight, you're going to have 100% of your max HP. You're going to get 50% of your max AP. This is how it works with the current characters that exist. This is how it's going to work with Krag. And this is how it's going to work continuously through the fight. You know, again, it's going to work in raids. It's going to work in war. It's also going to work in, potentially, like I say, Faction Assault in the future. That's where I'm kind of interested, because obviously there's a lot of turns in Faction Assault. So there's a lot of chance for this to proc. Could actually be pretty fun. In Raids of War, generally speaking, it's only a few turns, but this will obviously speed up potential of him being able to do stuff. You can do the command like I did on the example of his rush, where you just command turn 1, and obviously no one's taken a turn. With the Laura, it just gives 50% AP to the highest AP character, and in that case it was Krag, so he got his Adrenaline Rush instantly turn 1, and if he gets a takedown with that Adrenaline Rush, he obviously gets Adrenaline Rush turn 2 naturally, so he won't have been like commanded in that case. Kind of interesting, and there's a lot of potential there because he gets the AP boosted. Now if you only got him to LB2, this is what's going to boost up the AP, so you'd still get a natural turn 2 rush. Even if you didn't get the character to LB3 to get that AP boost, that's actually pretty decent. That means, like I say, still going to be powerful even if you don't get him to LB3. He's just not going to be as powerful in the fight as early on in the fight, but he'll still get there eventually. So we'll start the fight, and as you can see, we did get 50% of our max AP with Krag. We did actually get slightly higher because we have got Clementine, who has an AP weapon. What we're going to do is we're just going to defend on Krag. We're not going to do anything else. We're just going to do some attacks elsewhere. And then Krag, at the beginning of his next turn, he'll take some attacks. But at the beginning of his next turn, he should get the other 50% of his max AP. And in this case, he should get his rush. Now, we have got some taunts here, but we are going to get the cleanse, I think that was from Dale. So we kind of got lucky there. But as you can see, we have got the Adrenaline Rush just from naturally not doing any attacks, which is kind of cool. If we get that takedown, we get the Adrenaline Rush 100% AP for the next turn. But if, like I said, we didn't have him at LB3, he would only get 50% of his max AP. But then at the beginning of the next turn, he'd get the 50% as long as he was max HP, and he'd be able to rush again anyway. Now, lastly, Krag does have an attached weapon. It is Krag's Savage Spiky Bam Bam. 40% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking, improved teammate reviving. When taking out a target, a 50% chance to revive a teammate with 75% HP and 100% defense for 2 turns. And in the last slot, he has got Ransack. Attacks still 2 positive effects from the enemy you hit. So if you wanted to upgrade this weapon, pretty straightforward. 3 times 5%. The improved revive is always going to work no matter how he takes down an enemy, whether it be with his rush, signature move, or basic attacks. But the last slot will only ever work with his signature move or basic attacks. His Adrenaline Rush cannot steal anything, so you might want to swap a weapon into his hands that already has revive on it, but has other things on it. For instance, 1535 or the improved 1535 that I think was on one of Shane's weapons. That would be ideal in Krag's hands. Now, he might not even need AP on attack because he doesn't gain any AP from his signature move. He doesn't gain any AP from his rush, and that's all you're going to be doing as long as he's doing enough damage. You're rarely going to be doing basic attacks, I think, on this character. So you might want to make a very special, specific weapon for him, but I'm sure you've got, some weapons in the bank just ready to go. Like I said, that Shane weapon seems quite ideal for doing as much damage as possible while also being as supportive as possible in that 3rd slot. So that is Gold Mythic Krag the Destroyer, and it is great to finally see, I believe, the last character on that banner that we hadn't seen before. And it's been a long wait. There's been a lot of people kind of trying to think and guesswork who it potentially could be. Well, here it is. It's a little kiddo, and it is a pretty strong character for sure. I think this is one of the best characters in the game when it comes to, like I say, punching up against teams that are stronger than you. Because as long as you keep him alive, he will eventually get strong enough to take out pretty much any character in the game. I really want to see Rebels now get a Faction Assault boss, just because the potential of this character in a Faction Assault could be just so fun. So fun indeed. Just to see the kind of percentage damage that he could get up to, just to see how big a hit that Adrenaline Rush can do. We'll have to wait and see what happens though, guys. That's it for this video. Do tell me what you think about this character in the comments down below. Best of luck if you enter the giveaway, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.